Hello.
Hey.
I'm doing this drawing off of a picture that you sent me, and maybe that's a good place to start. Is there a story behind the specific picture? Do you have some kind of feelings about it or thoughts about it?
No, I wish I had more recollections of when I'm a child, but it's everything a little bit blurry, in a sense.
Okay.
But I remember this is early childhood, so that was from my pre-K times. So I think I was 2-3 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember I was very up as a child, histrionic, I think that's a word.
As in a lot of outward emotion kind of stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I was very expressive. I
Yeah.
loved to dance. I loved to be so loud and campy in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the overall feeling that I have from that picture, is that very early innocence phase, where no one's dumped any trauma on you yet. No one's told you that certain things are good or not good yet. So very unbegrenzt, unlimited.
And so that implies, obviously, then when you grow up, limitations come.
Yeah, of course.
And do you have ways that you contact him?
Actually, mostly in therapy, I will say.
Mm-hmm.
And when I started therapy, this was 4 years ago. It was a very new concept to me to try to contact my inner child, because before that I thought it was so cringe. I thought it was the cringiest thing to do. And I think some of the most cathartic moments I've had in therapy are when I'm talking to him, or really doing breath work and going into my body and trying to connect with this early version of myself. So yeah, I do it mostly in therapy, but now sometimes also when there's certain behaviors that I notice, or patterns that I notice in my behavior, I try to understand, okay, where is it coming from? Is it something from my early childhood or from my life that's really coming into play now, that maybe was a defense mechanism before, but that now I don't need it anymore? So I do try to talk to him quite a bit when I don't get too much into the thick of it.
And so when we were talking before, you mentioned that you're in a relationship. Do you see a relationship between your partner and your inner child? Have you ever thought of it
No.
in that way, kind of?
No, but I do have a picture of my partner next to my bed when he was 4 or 5 years old, because we were visiting back home, his home, and I found this picture and I thought it was so cute, so I have it there. Mm-hmm. So I do sometimes think of us as little children together, because it's really cute, but no, I don't think about the relationship between him and my inner child.
There was a time where I thought it was really, I had a moment where I was oh no, is this problematic? But when you're talking about that you're reparenting your inner child, and that means that your adult you is the parent of this child, then in a way your partner is a step-parent. The adult partner is the step-parent of your inner child.
Yeah.
And I've had a bunch of moments where when I'm feeling really tiny and really connected with some kind of pain connected to my child coming out, I've had really beautiful moments of where my partner is just so nice to her. He's so patient, and we can rewrite the moments where when she was actually small, I didn't have someone who was like that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really neat. And also I like the idea of them playing together.
Yeah, that's kind of cute. Strange as an adult to think of it, but cute. Yeah. But I think sometimes when we become adults, we just forget to be playful, and so we become boring, and we find a lot of things cringe that are actually just things that you would do if you didn't care what other people think.
Yeah, totally.
But because we care so much about what people think, and not to be too much or too little or anything, we're just not doing this kind of thing so much.
What do you think your inner child would think of your art?
He would love it. He always wanted to be an artist. He was there from day one. I remember, again, it's all sort of a mixed collection of memories, but I also have this video that my mom sent me once that is just me dancing in front of the TV to this show, And again, very unlimited, very not thinking, am I coming off as feminine? Am I gonna be perceived, oh my god, he's gay, or he's too much, or he's not doing boy things, because I was not doing boy things too much before then. So he would love my art, because he always dreamed of that, but I was always very scared to admit that that's what he wanted, because I think from an early age, very aware of the consequences of going against the current and against what everyone else was doing and what everyone else thought was correct thing to do. So I really early on learned to kind of put that down and put that artistry in a box and hide it. So I think he would be very happy and very proud of me that I've now become the artist that he wanted to be.
That's really lovely. I mean, so you're saying obviously that he did already express artistically back then. What kind of things did you do? You mentioned dance, but
Dancing.
Yeah, how did he express himself?
I loved again to sing and to dance, and I love to sing and dance also in private from like a really early age, you know. I loved drawing. I remember when we were children, I just really think, you know, when you're writing letters, you can write them as like a thin stick, or you can like write them as like with the outline, you know.
Bubble writing.
Like writing it with just like sticks, you know, like you do an A like this, or you can also do like an A like this, like you're drawing the outline.
I mean, it just looks like it's all like.
Exactly. And I remember like we were really, really young with my cousin, and he was like trying to like, I could do that very easily, and he couldn't at all. So I always was like very like into handwriting and painting. I was good in art class at school. I was good in music class at school. I loved writing as well. I used to play this online game, and they had like an online newspaper for the kids that were playing the game could like write stories, and I used to get my stories published there.
Wow, this was like high school or elementary school?
I was like 10.
Wow, they had a school newspaper in your elementary school?
No, it wasn't a school
sorry.
newspaper. It was this online game. I used to
sorry.
play online games so much. This one was called Neopets. I don't know if you know it. But like, anyways, it was like an online game, and they had like this newspaper where you would write like fiction and drama, like based on the characters of the game. And I used to write that, so yeah, I always,
cool.
I think one way or another was having some sort of artistic outlet with the limitations.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so we're connecting the inner child with the playfulness and this kind of expression. Like, what do you think he struggles with the most when you're not feeling good? What is his component in that?
I think he's always chased acceptance so much to very detrimental extents. I stopped being artistic, and I dimmed myself the first time I felt judged over being different, you know. And I was like sadly very smart and perceptive in that sense, you know. So I knew really how to quickly adapt to be more light, to be less different, and so I made that a part of myself so early on in my life. And I feel like that dysregulated version actually became the, you know, baseline version for a long time, where he was just like that, and then I only could be like myself, really hidden. And I think it's a common story for like many queer children, because you either go the route where you're like very unapologetically yourself from an early on age, which I love that it would have been me, or you go the other route, which I went, which is like you completely dim your light and you completely hide, just to be accepted by others. So I think acceptance is a big topic. Yeah.
Do you feel like this, it's almost kind of like this acting, I mean, masking is acting, so this whole era of fitting into everything else, has that given you insight that you could feel like now you can use in a positive way, now that you're living your truer self? Did this undercover era, like,
yeah, I feel like
you?
I have a strong sense of like, I need to get the hell out of some places if I can notice that I'm not accepted for who I am there. So like, you know, my biggest red flag is like if I go into some place and I feel like I cannot completely be myself, I'm like, I shouldn't be here, you know. So I know when it's kicking in, and I'm like now using it as a sort of compass in my life to say, this is not my place.
Yeah.
I think it's also given me like an emotional depth, and I can be very introspective. I can think about my emotions a lot and write, and I think as artists, you know, like writing about our emotions and our experiences is very important. So yeah, it's you know, it's part of the path that got me to where I am now, so I'm kind of trying to not regret any of the steps. Yeah, sometimes it feels like, even though it was so painful and there's so much struggle to go through, in a way, I've sometimes looked at it as like, I have the privilege of having had to get to know myself really deeply. Yeah.
And sometimes I see people where I get the impression that they didn't have to do that, and I'm like, you're functioning in society, like you're doing your thing, but it seems like it's some kind of program running. It's a kind of like a matrix kind of
Yeah, like you
experience.
just plugged a CD into your...
yeah, so it does seem to pay somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's, and also in the topic of acceptance, is like, now I'm like, I don't give a bleep about being accepted anymore. Can I curse?
I mean, if it's just my Instagram channel, yeah.
I don't give a fuck about being accepted.
We're not going to censor him right now.
Exactly true. I don't give a fuck about being accepted anymore. Like, I just like do what I feel, and I just do what like is true to me and like what makes me happy. And I don't let the fear of people not liking me anymore stop me at all. Before that was the case. Now,
that's admirable.
Yeah, it's hard. It's an exercise. Sometimes you're like, but this goes back to what I was saying of like, sometimes I still feel that like desire to like please and to like be accepted kicking in, but then I know then that means I'm in some sort of situation that I shouldn't be in. So
you have like a sixth sense for...
exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I'm trying not to pick into the drawing, because like, I don't want to spoil myself.
You just have to close your eyes and like look within.
Look into the distance. I normally do that anyways.
This is nice. The shade is kind of supporting me a little bit here now. Yeah. So, like, how did you first become aware of the terminology of inner child? I didn't know what to expect also if you have any kind of relationship with that term. Some people don't know it at all or don't have any process.
I don't know if I know much about it in like a fact sort of way.
Now that we talk about it, I don't think I do either.
It's more like, for me, what it means is just like being in touch with your child, and more like inner as the sense of like there's certain behaviors that you developed during that age when you were young that are still in you, and like trauma and all these things are stored in your body as well, and not just in your mind. So it's both like a physical and a psychic like a mental process to me to connect with that. But I say again, I unlocked it only with therapy, really. Like when someone came to me and it said like, oh, it's fine to like think that way and try to reconnect with that child instead of like just trying to block everything away that bothered you or that like traumatized you or like affected you as a child. Because I feel a lot of people are like, oh, let me just like live this completely in the past and never reconnect with it again. And I think the only way is through. Yeah. So that's what I like of like talking to myself as a child. A lot of times it's just like in therapy, telling him you're loved, you're okay, you're good just the way you are. All these things that before I would have been like, oh my God, this is so cringy to say, but it really has helped me so much.
Yeah, I had a therapist that said something I thought was really interesting that I've used a lot since then. She asked me, how old did you feel while you were crying? Oh. And I was like, wow. There's totally cries where I'm like, I'm a teenager, like I'm 14 or something. And then there's cries where it's like, I'm 3. And this is like an existential feeling. And
I wish I could cry that much.
I've worked on it. I have 2 years now. I've been learning how to cry.
How do you do that?
I did it in steps. So I noticed like, hey, I have a huge issue crying in front of people. So let's do it alone. And then I couldn't do it out loud first. I had like a pillow muffling it or making sure I'm like really alone. Yeah. And then at some point it just gradually grew that as I did some stuff like this is more advanced. I only did this more recently, but like taking a picture of myself in like full cry. I didn't even look at it yet, but I knew like there's something about being seen even though it's only by myself with the camera. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know, creating spaces like that. I mean, my boyfriend is the person that I felt the most comfortable with it. And then just going step by step, feeling like, oh, okay, now with this friend, this is a moment where it's coming up and I'm actually going to let it happen even though I'm feeling all embarrassed and I feel all the shame and like all that.
Exactly. Shame about crying is, I think, a big one. And I think for me it was like always like, oh, boys don't cry. I think that's another like more societal thing that gets imposed on like the toxic masculinity of like not crying,
Totally.
in front of others especially. So I
Yeah.
only cry like in therapy, very specific situations. But I think whenever I cry, I'm like a younger version of myself, you know.
I have never gotten to a point where I'm like, I'm 25 and this is like appropriate. I'm just like crying because something happened.
I'm never crying on my own age. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, if I cry, it's sort of like a sort of like more vulnerable, younger place. It's coming from there.
Totally.
But I've been teaching myself also, as you said, like crying in front of my boyfriend, you know.
Yeah.
If I really, 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 really want to cry, I watch a dog movie.
Yeah.
That's my trick.
It
like,
pushes your buttons.
It pushes all the right buttons for me. It's like I cannot see animals suffer.
Yeah. Totally.
So that really like triggers me. But I'm trying to like learn to cry over the sake of like just processing my emotions, because crying is so cathartic.
Oh
you know,
my
one
God,
of those
so
good
healthy.
cries when you cry and it starts to hurt here on the back of your neck, because like it's such a release.
Oh,
you know?
I don't get the release there. For me, it's like my abs so involved that I have like my stomach is really like. Ugh.
Oh, for me it's my neck.
Interesting.
Yeah, if I cry and I know it's a good cry, I'm like I have this piercing pain for like 2 minutes, and then it's like a relief.
Oh wow, maybe that's some kind of like vagus nerve thing maneuver happening. Yeah.
I mean, my nervous system is all over the place, so it could be.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Very
totally.
lucky.
Yeah. Outer children.
Outer children. Yeah. There's outer children here.
They're present. Yeah. Do you have siblings?
I do. I have one sibling. He's 4 years older than me.
Are you on good terms?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Great terms.
Nice.
I mean, not seen him so often as I would like. We don't live in the same place. He lives in Spain. But we do meet like at least twice a year now, which is good. Before he used to live in Australia for 4 years, which means that we did not see each other for almost 4 years.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have the like age difference where there was a long phase of our lives where we were each other's biggest enemy.
Yeah.
And then suddenly there's this moment that clicks and you're just like best friends, and he's like a sort of coach to you. You know?
Yeah, interesting. Do you find that like when you're around him, the inner child or inner children are like particularly active? Like there's something specific about being with your sibling. I have one sister, she's younger.
How old different is
she's 2.5 years younger.
Younger.
And I feel like she's an automatic activator of my inner child. It's just more present there. And my inner child, for example, you were talking about how like expressive yours was. Mine is like very still and observing, super suspicious of everything, very quiet, very like analytical, like feeling things out, tense.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's just my response. That was just my response to my environment at the time.
Yeah.
And so when I'm with my sister, I feel like that just comes out, and it has nothing to do with that she makes me feel that way. There's something about some kind of resonance space that brings out the past when it's a person that was in your past.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think that he triggers it in a special way. But I think we do share like some common interests. He's also really into music and artistic and so on. So I feel like now in the stage of our relations that we are, I get to be like really artistic in front of me, and he really values the art, you know, and like what I do, and he's like so encouraging. So he does trigger the good things, I guess, in my inner child. And we are quite like understanding of each other because we both grew with the same family, the same parents. So I think like we both have the same good things that we went through and the same not so good things that we went through, and so we understand each other.
It's super valuable.
I think like going back to what you said, like I think my inner child is very expressive, but I also think like sometimes he's also very like terribly shy, you know. So I was also very like from one side really expressive if I was at home, but also he was very shy when he was with like other people, you know. I only lost my shyness when I became a teenager, I think.
I think for me it was kind of the other way around, because now that you're saying it, of course I was also like really expressive in ways, but at home was actually the time where I in many ways felt really like I have to be on guard and I have to be this certain way. And then, for example, my first real friendship, I'm still good friends with her, I remember being at her place all the time, and I would be all like loud and crazy and like funny and joking around
Yeah.
and like playing.
Yeah. With close friends, sure. I remember I used to like, I back home I had like Max Steels and all these toys that I did not give a fuck about, and then I had like my bestie, Sophie, and I used to go to her house and I would play with her huge Barbie plane. So I know like there were some, of course, like being with certain people that I wasn't shy, but like if I was in like a group setting, I was extremely shy.
Oh yeah, same.
Just because I already felt like there were certain things about myself that I had to hide, and so I think some points that took me to a place where I was like, okay, I'm just not gonna talk at all,
Yeah.
I'm just not gonna engage at all because rather invisible than visible and
And
judged.
endangered.
Yeah, endangered.
Even.
Yeah, for
totally.
sure, yeah.
Especially when you're young, like it's such a existential threat. You don't have the big picture. You can't abstract out of it like
Exactly.
that. It's like just like you don't have a sense of time, and if you're feeling threatened, and immediately it's just like, oh, this is what the world is like now, forever. So of course you want to prevent
and if you're not accepted by like a certain group of people at your school, you feel like the world ends there.
Totally.
Everything is like so ultimate and like so definitive.
Totally.
Whereas once you grow up, you already start to like be able to tell the nuance that like, well, if I'm not accepted here and I'm not loved here, I'll just go somewhere else. That
another thing, like children don't have autonomy over their bodies. They can't go where they want to go.
Exactly, yeah.
Like the nuclear family that has been like propagated as being such a great thing is such a dangerous environment. Like you can be lucky and have a parent that's good, but like most people's parents are just like some person.
Yeah.
And that's not a safe person to be around 24/7.
I think a lot of times parents don't realize that they're translating their traumas onto children.
Yeah.
And that like they're projecting their things and that they're conditioning their children. Because I've had this conversation with my parents where I was like, when I came out to them, they were so apologetic and I was like, wow, we're so sorry. Like, was there ever any situation where we really like made you feel that you're not comfortable being who you are, and that it's not okay to be who you are? And I'm like, it's not like you were coming to me directly and saying, gay is wrong, because that was never the case. But if ever I told them, oh, I kissed a girl or something like this, I would kind of like try these things. They would like celebrate it so much. Or whenever I got good grades at school in like maths or like really like hardcore hard skill things, they would celebrate that, but they wouldn't really celebrate art. So it's more like the way that they condition certain things, and I think sometimes parents, and I hope that's changing now, and I know from people with younger children that's kind of changing, they didn't tend to ask that much. I feel like my parents, at least, they would stay at the house, everything, and they would be like, it's okay, and they wouldn't really like deep dive that much. I feel like if my parents had like dug a little bit deeper into how I was at school, if anything was happening and so on, I think my life would have been like slightly different. I don't judge them in that sense though, because of course like if I'm saying okay, it's also fine for them to say, well, I believe you and I trust that you're okay. But like I feel now parents are a little bit more involved, I guess, in like how children are doing at school and like discussing their emotions and not just like taking the first answer as the right one.
Yeah, I mean, someone I know, she said that this child psychologist that she knew said, if the parents are good, the kids are good. And most people are not good. Like they're not, as in like happy and like okay with themselves, aware of themselves.
Yeah.
And so when you have a parent who's struggling to just maintain their own equilibrium, and then you throw a child in the mix, and children are so needy, they need so much all the time. They're dependent on you completely. Then it's just most parents are already on their own not the best version of themselves, and then when the children are there, they're even less capable of being the best version of themselves. And then we end up having not the best versions of people extremely imprinting the next generation.
Yeah. Generational trauma.
Yeah, exactly. And then it just keeps going. Yeah.
I have a few of those.
Huh?
I have a few of those.
Yeah, totally. How do you feel about speaking English? Like, how do you feel, what's your relationship to English?
I love it. I have been thinking in English since a very young age. One thing that I will be extremely and always grateful to my parents for is that they pushed me from a really young age to learn English. Where I'm from in Argentina, it's also very common because, of course, you're always thinking, the country could go to shit and then you maybe want to leave. So children are always like encouraged, some are forced to learn English, but I actually really enjoyed it from a really young age. And to me, English was always like this sort of like escapism, you know, escapism. Because yeah, I used to play games in English, and I used to watch like a lot of movies in English, and I could escape and like live in a little reality and like be sort of like a different person, you know. So I have a great relationship with English because it was like a language where I was maybe more in touch with myself, actually.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Spanish has like all this weight of like, that's the language I was like, you know, hiding myself in and like not being myself and so on. But if I was like playing a game online in English, I was like much more stunning, and I was like, you know, very unlimited again, like more like.
Yeah.
I think like I have that good relationship with English.
Cool.
And I've been out of Argentina many times from a very young age, so I've had many chances of like needing to practice it a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Where I was going with this was how when we learn to speak, I don't know if everyone remembers this feeling of being frustrated that you can't speak yet from being a child, and I was wondering if like living in a foreign language.
I get that with German though, because
yeah.
I studied German for 8 years.
Yeah.
But das Leben ist zu kurz, Deutsch zu lernen. Yeah,
German is tough.
It's tough, and I still have those instances where I'm like, damn, I wish I could like express all that I want to say instead of this like botched version that I get to say.
Yeah.
I don't have that with English anymore. I'm lucky in that sense. Like I can say everything I could say in Spanish and English. But
Okay,
in German,
nice.
There's some times where I'm like, I wish I could show a little bit more depth into what I want to say.
Yeah.
So I do feel that frustration sometimes. It's harder to feel as an adult.
It's harder to feel the.
As in, like, it's even more frustrating when you feel it as an adult.
Yeah.
I feel, because as children we are like sponges.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
learn very quickly, and you're like already always in a constant learning setting where it's like okay, and you feel okay being faced with things that you don't know. But like when you get to adulthood, you have like this idea that you have to have your shit together, you know. And like being in this position where you're like learning and you're like not the best at something, that's always been so hard for me.
Oh, totally.
Yeah. So it's a very frustrating feeling that I used to avoid for so many times, but then you have to like, if you want to do something new, if you want to challenge yourself, you have to not stay away from this, you know?
Yeah, totally. Totally. It's a really fine line, the venturing out, being playful in order to learn something, but then also allowing the vulnerability, and then being open and soft so the learning can happen, but then also being like tough enough to then not let something go really, really deep. Yeah.
I mean,
really
it has
fast.
a parallel to art, right? Like
Totally.
I feel like as musicians and putting out music, and like it's always like we're always learning too, and we're always getting better, and like putting your soul out there, and like getting criticized and all of these kind of things.
Yeah.
I think it triggers that same sort of frustration of like when you're learning a language, you know.
Totally. But I mean,
Times 100.
music is a language as well, and
that's true.
Totally. Yeah, I haven't checked out your stuff yet, which I think is actually kind of cool because we could just meet just this way.
Exactly.
Do you?
We're just people.
Yeah, exactly. Do you write in English?
Yeah.
Or,
I mean, I also write sometimes in Spanish, but I write in English.
Yeah.
Because I mean, when I write for myself, I
like
think
journaling
English
or
is
something.
No, when I write for my own project, like music for my own project, I think English is like the common language, and it has its perks, and like you can address a lot of people potentially. And when I write with others, it's like English is the common language, either for my project, or I also like to write for other people for their projects.
Oh, okay, cool.
English is also the common language where
makes sense.
It has the most potential. I tend to try to write in Spanish, but I only like ever keep it to myself. Really, I haven't ever gone to like the instance of preparing to launch a song in Spanish. But everyone is like, "Oh, when are you gonna do something in Spanish?" And yeah, it's definitely gonna happen at one point. But as I said, like Spanish has this like deeper, association with me. It's like heavy sometimes to need to express how I feel in Spanish.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I haven't gotten to the point of writing anything in German because the associations, it's kind of similar to what you were saying. Also, like the language that you went to school in and like all that kind of stuff. But my sister just made the leap. My sister is also, my sister's kids calling out for their moms. I find this so thematic. Like, I'm not mad at it at all. I mean, I'm pretty much finished.
Okay, cool.
I think that this is pretty cool.
Okay, ready.
That's great. Oh my god, can I see the reference? Because it looks
Yeah.
so similar.
Oh, I closed it.
Oh my god. Look, Mom, I made this. Just. Oh my god, yes. Wait. I love that.